Hey y'all, what's going on? This is Inside the Creator. Welcome to the pod. Really appreciate you rocking and learning with me. Real quick, if you are a creator, builder, grower, and you have no problem giving your all, but find yourself just checking boxes and doing all of the things just to be doing all of the things, and want to instead create a vision that excites you in a way that changes the world within you and around you and inspire the people that you love, then this is the place to be. Lock in daily for mindset, emotional wellness, and self discovery for the creator in you. You ready? Let's get it. Good morning and welcome to Inside the Creator. This is the place to be for mindset, emotional wellness, and self discovery for the creator in you. Here we are getting out of our way and we are getting on purpose. And today I wanted to use this podcast episode to help you to recall past successes so that you can use it as a tool to get on this new journey, to get into this new place of self discovery and getting on purpose. I was thinking the other day about my journey in getting my 2 degrees. And it was a very challenging time in life, but somehow I succeeded. I did not get 1 degree, I got 2 degrees. I did it not with one or two children, I had 4 children while I was working on these degrees, full time job, and just life aggravation. And with now embarking on this new journey, creating personal development content and self discovery content, and just really wanting to help people in that area as well as grow myself. I some days I find it very difficult to stay on track. And something for some reason I started thinking about the degrees. I started thinking about that time, and I'm like, well, how is it that with all of that turmoil and nonsense and just generally being in an unhappy place at the time, how did I succeed then? And I came up with a couple of things, and if you have a journal, just kind of get that out. If not, just get a piece of paper, a brown paper bag. I don't just write somewhere to write. All right. First, I thought about my why then, right? What was my why at that moment in time? And I think back to that time where we were living in abject poverty, right? We did not have enough to take care of our little family. I was working full time and I was still rubbing 2 nickels together, still borrowing money, still having to take out payday loans, the WIC, the welfare, the Section 8, the sitting in welfare offices, looking at these caseworkers who did not look at you and actually try to help you to get off of welfare. They would just look through you and process some paperwork and kind of just get you in there and get you out of there. And that whole lifestyle, that whole poverty lifestyle, I was done. Right? I was done. And that was the biggest reason why I wanted to go back to school. I had started school when I was about 19, and then I had gotten pregnant, and sometimes I connect me not being in school with the pregnancy, but I didn't drop out because I was pregnant. I was already out of school because of financial reasons, And the pregnancy, well, that was just the tip of the iceberg. I was just like, you know what? I'm done with all of this. Like, I was too young to be positive about it. Like, I was not, I was 20. I was 20. I was already in a place of not believing that anything could change coming from poverty in my own home life, like with my mom, and now being on my own, school not working out, pregnancy, all of that. I was just like, yeah, I'm done. Um, so I dropped out of school because of financial reasons, got pregnant shortly after that. And right during my pregnancy, I met my husband. He's not the biological father of my son, but he has been the father of my son since he was a month old. So that's his dad. And, but yeah, at that time, I it was just about paying bills, and then my husband and I had a child together, so now we have two children, and I'm working full time and he's working full time, and unemployment rates is up, down. I'm working, then I'm not working. It's just a whole thing of, again, the poverty lifestyle, the in and out of work, in and out of welfare offices, depending on WIC and everyone else to be able to support our family. And I was done with that. I said, I don't like this. I need to find a way to earn more money. I'm going to go back to school. And that wasn't even an easy feat because I had been getting notices from financial aid and from for my loans, and I would take them right out the mailbox and I would put them right in the garbage because at the time I'm like, what do I need to look at these large thousands and thousands of dollars? I can't pay anything. I can barely put food in my refrigerator, let alone try to worry about somebody's student loan. So I took those and I would just take the envelope out the mailbox, bring it in the house, and put it in the garbage. And then one day, once I realized that I wanted to go back to school, I decided to open the envelope. And it was saying, oh, we have these payment arrangements, ways that you can pay your loans and get out of default. And I'm like, yeah, let me see about this. So I went online. Either I went online or they had some type of insert in there. And it was saying how you can get out of default and then enroll into school and get into in-school deferment, which would push your loans back while you study. So now I'm like, okay, so how do I get out of default? So I called the 800 number, and lo and behold, they said, hey, you can pay $30 a month for 9 months straight, get out of default, and then enroll back into school. It's just that easy. And $30 did not seem like a large amount. It doesn't seem like a large amount now, but even then, I had a little, a little bit of trepidation. I was like, okay, I'm barely, again, rent is barely being paid, barely having food in the fridge, and we're talking about $30 a month. And my plan was at the time, I said, well, if I cannot pay this $30, I am going to ask somebody for it. And that was a lot for me to say because I don't ask anybody for anything. I was like, but this right here, I'm like, if I cannot get this $30, I am going to ask someone, anybody. And I actually did miss 1 month. And that was one of the stipulations. You could miss a month, but you could not miss more than 1 month. And because it was a 9 month commitment to paying the $30 to get out of default. With 1 month, you could get 1 month. And I did miss a month. And, but I did get out of default in that 9 months. And I went right as soon as I was able to get out of, as soon as I got out of default, as soon as I was able to apply to school, I jumped right on in. And my why then for, again, getting into school was just earning power. I need to be able to earn more money. All the jobs I looked at, all of them required a bachelor's degree. And I'm like, okay, I could easily do this job. I just can't show them the documentation as far as degree. And I can do that. Let me get this degree. And so I enrolled into school, and I was very excited about getting back into school. But in the background of just feeling like I'm finally on a path to somewhere, to do something good for myself and something that was going to benefit my family. Again, we don't have enough money, working full time, living in an environment that I did not want to live in. I never, I, li- I lived in a hood, right? My only thing was I would always find nice places within hood environments. If I would go to an apartment and it was on a horrible street, I would absolutely not take that apartment. I don't care how much the rent was. I don't care what they included in the rent. I'm not living there. I would go around the corner and up the block to the nice little street and take that apartment, even if it wasn't exactly the apartment that I wanted. I would rather have that environment than just live in straight, just in the most horrible, on the most horrible streets in the hood. And that was all that I could do at that time as far as our living situation. But my kids still had to go to the sketchy hood schools, and you know what I mean? And they couldn't play outside because it was too much concrete, no grass, no nothing, too much traffic, too much going on outside. My kids could not play outside. So you're talking about living in that environment as well. So there were a lot of things going on in the background, evictions, right? While I'm getting a degree, like trying to do my essays and trying to go to court and beg the landlord to not put us out. Um, so I again, but my why was to earn more money. That was my professional why. My emotional why was that I was just tired. I was tired of living like that. Like I was tired of going to my daughter's closet. She liked clothing, and she was into fashion, and she had like two shirts, right? One pair of shoes. And I was not able to get her anything else. And my three sons, like, just they're boys, like they weren't into clothing or anything like that, but they liked their things, their video games, and they were young at the time, like under 10 years old. So even that, like Christmas and just holidays coming around and wanting to be able to do things for my children, and just always not being able to do anything. And that was the emotional why. Like emotionally, I was tired of that. I'm like, this is stupid. And so those are my whys as far as going back to school. And then along the way, it was keeping myself motivated right in that place, because the next thing I want you to also think about with something, again, looking at something that you've succeeded in your past. And first I want you to think about the why. Like, why did you choose that thing, and what was like your professional why? That sounds cute on paper, but like, what was the emotional reasons why you decided to pursue that particular thing, right? And then the next thing, just think about the obstacles. Like I was saying, like, what obstacles at the time could have derailed you but didn't? Because that's also important. And I wasn't thinking about that, but as I thought about that journey in getting those 2 degrees, it was so much emotionally, those same emotions that led me to go back and pursue my degree was the same emotions that could have derailed me, because it was hard some days. It was hard some days to see the light at the end of the tunnel. And that for me could have just derailed me, because although I knew I was doing it for a good purpose, when I got maybe midway to where I think I had finished the associate's degree and I was starting the bachelor's degree, And I was just in a place where I'm like, the associate's degree does not really help me to get any, to the money that I was making at the time was basically where the associate degree would have gotten me. So I was like, okay, I'll just put this to the side and keep working towards this degree and keep this job that I have. And but the same emotions like really could have just knocked me out. And because it was hard some days to really remember why, and trusting that when I get to the end of this bachelor's degree that it was actually going to change something, right? Like I'm sitting there some days like I don't even know why I'm doing this. Like, yeah, I'm going to get this degree and hopefully it'll change things, but what if it doesn't? Like what if I do all of this only to be right here in this situation that I'm in right now, making the money that I'm making, still feeling like I am emotionally? Like what if nothing changes? And I got to that point, right? So that's something that could have derailed me. So think about those obstacles, the eviction notices, and problems with Section 8 and problems with welfare and their nonsense. Um, it was just those kinds of things that I felt like could have really taken me off of that path easily, right? And then the children, like I love my children and I love being a mom, but having four children under the age of 12, having a newborn and a 3 year old and a 6 year old, like that's a lot. And trying to work on a degree, like I and having a full-time job, like I would go to work, I would try to do my schoolwork when I was at work. I was taking two buses and a train to work. That just that alone, like I didn't have a car when I started the last job that I had while I was working on my degree. And one time I was on a bus and I was sitting next to a guy and another guy tried to rob him, tried to pull his phone out of his hand, and I was pregnant with my fifth at the time, and this guy's elbow is coming towards my stomach. I'm trying to guard my stomach while this other guy is trying to rob him. Like it was pretty intense at times. And again, things that could have derailed me. Like I was not in the best emotional place, the best psychological place, and so there were obstacles. There were things that could have just led me to say, you know what, we're not doing this. We just gonna not do this. We gonna just give up, right? And honestly, even now, even today, like it's hard for me to give up. Like if you are here listening to this kind of podcast, then I know it's probably the same for you. Like I don't give up easily. Like it's just even when I'm confused and I don't know what I'm doing and I'm crying every day or and I'm angry and I'm having conversations with God and I don't feel like God is hearing me and my money looking funny and I'm about to get put on the street, it don't matter. I cannot give up. Like I don't have it in me. I tried, but I can't do it. And so I think about that time. I think about those obstacles and why they did not derail me and how they almost did. But yeah, what could have knocked you off of your path? And today, think about things right now that could be obstacles right now, and really think about them and like write it down and understand that these probably are weapons that are being formed against you. And that's okay because you're strong, you're resourceful, like you're going to get this done. But sometimes it is acknowledging that these things right here are not this. I don't feel good about these things, but I'm still going to do the things that I set out to do. I'm still going to work towards my goals and work towards leaning into more fulfilling work and doing things that I love. So, and then lastly, what why do you think you succeeded, right? Like, in your own words, in your own journal, why do you think that you succeeded in the past with that past goal that you were trying to achieve? And for me, I think one of the biggest reasons why I think I did succeed is because I realized that I had nothing else to go back to. Like, for real. It one of the days where it was really tough and I was like, you know what? This might not even work out the way that I think it's going to work out. I could just not do this and nobody's going to care. And that is probably the worst part of it all is that just like now and the dreams that you're trying to achieve now and that past success, that thing that you did that was really hard to do that you did do, at the end of the day, nobody really cares, right? Like, my husband loves me, my children love me. If at that time I would have chosen to just put the books down, get out of the school, get out of my degree program and just wrap it up and just be like, you know what, we're not doing this, they wouldn't have cared. Not because they don't love me, it's just that they support me in whatever it is that I want to do or choose to do. And that's the tragic part of it, is that past success, that past goal that you had was for you. You chose it and said, this is something I'm going to do, and I'm going to do it for this reason. And just like now, if you're transitioning into looking into more fulfilling work, getting on purpose, at the end of the day, people around you that support you, they love you. And honestly, they don't care. They don't care whether you pursue it or not. If you just put it down, if you just put your projects up in a closet, throw them in a box and just, wrap it up and just go off and just become a slave to all of the things that you don't like, but just makes life easier because it's been working and it fulfills a need, like a job, right? The job that you really are not crazy about. If you do that, no one's gonna really care, right? No one's gonna be like, well, and that's the bad part about it. It's the self motivation, it's the intrinsic motivation, it's the your why, and really locking into that every single day that you wake up. So again, why do you think you succeeded? What was it that you thought, what made all of this come together? And for me, again, I think it was the fact that I just knew that no one cared, right? It was something personal for me. And I had nothing else to go back to. I was working a job at the time at a college and it was a contract role. I was a mom. We weren't married at the time. So, it's me and my partner, and nothing much was going on because, again, financially, when your finances are crazy, there's not much going on, right? We were just living, right? We were day in, day out, lots of love in our household, lots of peace in our household, not a lot of money, right? And that was life. That was life. And I'm like, I would like to see something different. I would like to be on a track of achieving something. And just at that time, I believe that's why is that I realized that, okay, we put this school stuff away. What then? Like, what are we gonna do? Just sit around, right? And so that's why I truly believe that I succeeded, and also just God. Like, I one of my favorite prayers at the time was, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want." And I used to always just say that one part of Psalm 23, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want." And I just used to always say that one. And the of Proverbs 3 verses 5 through 6, the lean not in onto your own understanding scripture. And those are the two that I held at the time that I used to recite and remind myself of. And I think those were the things that why I think I kind of kept going. I kept going. And so again, just from the top, what we discussed today was mining your past success, something that you succeeded at that was really difficult, or that wasn't, but you actually succeeded at it, and really thinking about why you started it in the first place, thinking about the obstacles that could have derailed you, and then really thinking about why you think you succeeded. Like at the end of the day, what was it? What was it? And taking those things and putting that together and really using that for your journey today, and putting it, just seeing what you can use from that past success to build upon going down this journey and doing this new thing. And I am complete. Thank you so much for tuning in. Wow, you are at the end of yet another episode. I truly hope this has helped you to move closer to living fully in your purpose. And if you'd like to learn about the 3 creator levels, discover where you are and how to flow and grow through each level, go ahead and grab that in the links. And if you'd like to work with me privately to clarify and execute your vision as soon as yesterday, please reach out at info@aprilterrell.com. And remember to be where your feet are. Stay present, as you cannot change the past, and the future depends on how well you can use and share your gifts today. Stay focused, stay locked in. You got this. It is happening. Just keep going. See you in the next episode.